microphone stand, seen a lot of use tonight. Back in the 90s, I worked at a little guitar store in Toronto, and I had an unusual amount of access to Gordon Lightfoot, who was one of my heroes growing up, because he used to get his guitars fixed there. He may still, I don't know, but I haven't worked there in a long, long time. But at the time, I remember he used to come in with some regularity, which he would often phone before he came down, and he would just say, "Jason, it's Gord, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And he'd come in with it, whether it was a guitar to be fixed or he would buy strings. And I mean, I could talk for an hour about the stories that I have about for what were for me really hugely important meetings with one of my musical heroes. But I'll share a couple of quick ones with you. One was, he told me one time he was buying all these single strings in really strange gauges. And I didn't understand why he was buying these single ones as opposed to just sets of strings. And he said it was for something called a high string guitar. And I didn't know what that was, and many of you might not know what that is, but it's like a 12-string guitar with only the high strings on it. And he said, "Jason, this is the secret of a lot of my records, a lot of my hits, check it out." So of course I went home and put the headphones on, and there it is on a lot of those songs. And I know Gord's here, and I can't tell you as a session guitarist over the last 25 years, how many times I've used the secret weapon of the high string. And I pull it out, I said, "You know what this needs on this track? Little high string frame," which was the word Gord used. And I pull it out and I go, "That's amazing, where did you get that?" And every time I say, "It's Gordon Lightfoot told me about this." That's one thing. He also told me in great detail one day how to boil guitar strings to prolong their life, which is what he and Red Shea did back in the day when they were traveling. And I suppose didn't have a lot of money to buy new guitar strings every week when they were playing 6 nights a week, so they would, when they were staying at motels, they would, as he said, get a good rolling boil going on the hot plate and take their strings off and drop them in the pot and curl them up in a bow and put them in the pot for 7 minutes and then remove them with a pair of tongs and set them out on a Scott towel and let them dry overnight. And in the morning he would recoil them and put a piece of red electrical tape on them to remind himself that they were red hot and that they'd been boiled. And so he told me the whole process. And I think the only thing Gord knew about me at that point was that I played classical guitar as well as other things. But I remember he went home from that particular trip to the store and he phoned back about 20 minutes later and he said, "Jason, I just wanted to tell you something. You can't boil those nylon guitar strings, they'll melt and wreck your pot." I was just thrilled that he phoned me up to tell me anything.